Alright. Let's see if this works. Yeah, looks like it's working, actually, surprisingly. Just let me know if you guys actually hear me, if I'm coming through here. The reason that I was so careful about doing a live stream is just because my internet is really bad. It's not per se very terrible, but there's not a LAN cable. Me and my roommate have looked endlessly into trying to connect a LAN cable to my PC, but it just doesn't really work. None of the walls allow us to throw a LAN cable through there. So I've got Wi-Fi on my PC, not even with an actual Wi-Fi card, but with this USB Wi-Fi thingy, which, as you might know, is just about the worst quality ever. Let's get that airplane over here. God, I always keep playing with that thing. So yeah, that's why I really don't want to try the live stream, because there's no way that I can promise that the quality will be good. And if it's gonna buffer or you know, be a terrible quality, I'm sorry, there's not much I can do about that there. Aside from getting a LAN cable, which God knows never really worked out. Is the quality decent though? I guess we're gonna be able to tell if I actually start moving around, if there's any bitrate issues, if it stays alright or anything. Oh, why is this golden? Wait, did I? Whoa. Oh yeah, of course, I completed 2 of the optional goals there. Ah, that's funny, I didn't actually realize that. So, apparently, if you complete some of the optional goals, the color of these things changes. That's super cool. Huh, I didn't even know that. For now though, I'm gonna have to watch the chats, because I haven't started up my laptop here to look at the chats with. So, that's something to keep in mind. We might as well just turn this into a little bit of an AFK, or into a Q&A thing. Sorry. Because I really didn't intend to stream. I'm sorry guys, I just need to explain this real quick for those of you who just joined. I was recording a Parkitect episode when I hit the stream button instead of the record button, and really I should protect myself against things like these, because these 2 buttons are right next to each other, and I hit the stream button for just a second. But of course that popped up a live stream here on YouTube and notified everyone that I would be streaming. So very impulsively I'm streaming this, just because I want to at least do a bit of a stream. I don't want to falsely notify people that I'm streaming. So that's what's happening here. Hi, by the way, Jason, and everybody else who just joined. Glad to know that the quality is actually decent. So, I'm not gonna play a scenario, I think. Or maybe I could play a scenario. If you guys want me to play a scenario, I would honestly be down to do something like that. But I was mostly thinking about maybe making some blueprints, looking around the scenarios and giving a bit more of an insight look into them than I can in the videos. Because the videos are, of course, a little bit limited in time, even though they're often upwards of 50 minutes long. But yeah, that was basically my plan for this. Excuse me if I'm not too well prepared for this live stream. This is completely, yeah, this is completely impromptu. So, I was actually trying to look back on some of the scenarios. The last blueprints I think I made were from Western Roundup, so that's quite a while ago. There were some terrain coasters in here. Maybe some blueprintable stuff in here, actually, we can see. And then there's Nova Labs, which I think has some pretty blueprintable stuff in there as well. And there's the newest episode, which I shouldn't spoil, maybe. Or maybe I should anyway. And actually, yeah, good point. I might as well just make a new coaster. Hi, Lasse from Germany. This is a game called Parkitect, and I've just got it open here because that's the game that I happened to be playing when I started the live stream. But I've been making some videos of this recently. If you guys are open to being spoiled, then I can spoil the map, I suppose. But I'll wait with that. Actually, I want to see if I have anything that's... wait, do I open Mystic Oasis or Mystic Oasis 2? Huh, they're on the same day anyway. I guess the original actually. That looks to be the slightly newer version. Oh, lots of people are saying I should spoil you guys now. Well, I'm not too sure about that one, but we'll see. Actually, I think this is a pretty blueprintable coaster. And looking back at it, I actually really like the station as well. Just need to get rid of this thing going on here. That's some annoying shenanigans there. And I think it's probably better to put some lanterns on top of these posts. But yeah, this actually sort of allows me to just take in the sound design on this as well. It sounds really cool. I never actually noticed how the lift hill sounds. Let's just follow it for a bit. There it goes. Not too many people on it, but it's a pretty cute coaster. I like it. Kinda like the color scheme on this as well. This is still my favorite scenario, I think. Not just the scenario itself, but also the park that I ended up making in it. So yeah, there it is. That's the unnamed junior coaster. We're also gonna have to give some things names, which is a bit of a new thing. Okay, so yeah, I can actually maybe change the bitrate a little bit. I've got my bitrate capped at about 1500, which definitely makes it very pixelated when I move around a lot. The reason for that though is just the internet. And it's not my bad internet in the Netherlands actually. I live in Brussels. And it's mostly bad because I'm on Wi-Fi. God, I'm streaming on Wi-Fi. I know it's a terrible thing. For the time being though, just so I don't restart the stream or something, I think I should just keep the camera still, mostly, and then it should be fine. Does this thing make any money? Not yet so far. This is the Mystic Oasis level. Little Dunes. That's a pretty cool name. Yeah, actually, I could take some suggestions for it. If there are any other people who want to shout any names, just throw them out there and I'll think about it. No, I'm not too ill anymore, thank you. Just coming over the cold a little bit. Coughing every now and then, but there's always the mute button on my mic, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Recent negative news, decreased interest in theme parks. Oh, well shit. Actually, one of those little pop-ups is like a popular content creator just featured your park in one of their videos, which is... God, we're living in the 21st century, aren't we? So I want to blueprint this thing actually, so let's just get that out there. Definitely not gonna select everything separately, so let's just grab this whole thing. Actually, no, before I do that, I want to finish the catwalk. Or fix it, really. So, what kind of cornices do we want to get on here? I think this is, yeah, that's the same one as there. Might as well get the same color for it as well. It's not the nicest thing. I think the fences looked slightly nicer, but I guess this works. Just gonna have to put some pillars in the middle of that. Actually, now that I'm using these cornice pieces, I think I'm gonna put a pillar on every square. Should look a little bit nicer. Oh wow, I never even noticed that they play music when you complete all the goals. Huh, that's cool. Oh, lots of interesting names. Thanks guys. Just trying to scroll through this a little bit. See what I really like. The Sand Surfer is pretty cool. Centipede. Desert Dragon. Centipede. Stampede. Lots of variations on that one, I guess. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of Centipede as well. It's super punny, but no, that doesn't make it bad. Is that on every grid space? Yep, it is. Alright. Let's see if we can actually have some lights. Oh. Okay, so that's the reason why I had these lights. Alright, no biggie. I can put those in there. Right, so we have an actual functional catwalk now. That's nice. Now let's make the blueprints. Actually, gotta include this. And then I think you could just grab this, include that. Yep. And include those. Nice. And I'm just gonna make this blueprint first and then cut out the pieces that I don't want on a separate map. So this is the moment of truth where I suppose I'm gonna need to choose one of the names. Oh, there's lots of really cool names in there. Okay, Centipede it is, I think. Hi Philip. And yeah, like the others just said, this is Parkitect. So I'm gonna call this thing Centipede. I hope you guys are okay with that. I wouldn't normally go with such a punny name, I think, but also this is a kiddie coaster. In real life, I think kiddie coasters very often have a very punny name. Now, the challenge is this vertical drop coaster with no name here. Do I want to save that as a blueprint? I think it's fairly blueprintable. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Should be doable. I just want to maybe exclude the queue from it. Not quite sure. But yeah, I think I do. To make this a bit more usable, I'm gonna take away this queue. Do want to include some of the catwalks and the support structures. So yeah, let's go. So first we just select this space. Oh, actually that's a little bit bigger, isn't it? No, actually that's it. First we select all of this. Then get some of these in here. And finally, these supports. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. I don't want to copy any of the foliage and stuff like that. Yeah, let's save this. So I'm gonna need a name for this Eurofighter as well. Is Parkitect free? It's definitely not free. I don't recall exactly what the price is at the moment. I could actually look that up real quick. But no, it's definitely not free. It's on Steam though. Alright. Oh, no, not that much. Oh, oops. Actually, that doesn't matter. Alright, good. There we go. That should do it. Okay. Oh, no. It was good for a second, but the bit rate is all over the place. Yeah, I'm sorry. This stuff happens. and that's why I try not to stream, because it more or less makes for some expectations that I don't think I can really live up to. Sorry, my internet did a bit of an oopsie whoopsie there. That said, in the meantime, I did take the opportunity to raise the bit rates a little bit. So if I move around, it should be a little bit more clear now. I upped it only to 2000 because I do want to be pretty careful here, but it should be alright actually. Is this still called a Planet Coaster livestream, really? Anyway, time to think about some names. I've seen Soaring Dragon, Sandstorm, Fata Morgana. I like that. I actually like Sinbad as well. I know it sounds pretty lame. I think Sandstorm is quite good as well. Maybe a little bit generic, but that works for roller coasters usually. Although Desert Dragon is also pretty cool. I guess the name Dragon is a bit generic as well, but wait, what's the pun in Desert Dragon? Oh, actually no, that's not right. Sign bad. Dust Devil, Sand Rush, Sandstorm. What a legend. Yeah, I like Sandstorm and Desert Dragon. Up and down. That's what a roller coaster does. That's how it be. A roller coaster do be like that sometimes. No, I need to make up my mind. I think Sandstorm is... We're gonna have to go with Sandstorm. Not for the meme, I think it really... It just works. It just... Looking at it, you know, a Eurofighter... I like the name Desert Dragon a lot, but a Eurofighter doesn't really feel that intimidating to me. Actually, a Eurofighter is kind of cute. I know this is getting into some really strange territory here, but personally I feel like Eurofighters are really cute coasters. Like these tiny little cars. There's just something really cute about it. Nice little cute and wholesome, shaky, rough little coasters. That's what they are. Oh, I actually did not think about relocating my laptop here. Okay, we're gonna have to keep that in a pretty janky position on my desk. Okay, so the Eurofighter is now called Sandstorm. Now let's get back into the main menu and check out some of the other scenarios, see if there's anything we can turn into a blueprint there. So we've got Nova Labs over here, which is a huge park. That's probably gonna lag up my PC a little bit. Okay, how come I don't play Planet Coaster that much anymore? I have to be completely honest, I did want to address it. It's a really good question, because it's definitely noticeable recently. Get out of here. I was talking about the game, sorry. I've been playing it a little bit more, at least, than it seems in my videos. Until now, I've been trying to get Reshade to work on Planet Coaster, actually, because I really want to work with Reshade. You can check out on Variable Gaming's channel what kind of amazing things he's been able to do with Reshade. But for some reason, I think I'm an idiot, and I still haven't been able to get it to work, even though I've spent many hours trying to fix things. So that's one thing. And also, to be completely honest, I've been enjoying this game more than Planet Coaster. So that's why I've been playing this much more and making videos of this. That said, I do want to make another episode of Jägerhorn soon. Before that though, I need to repair it because I lost some progress there. But as soon as I get Reshade to work, as soon as possible, I want to get started on a cinematic video for Volvara, because that's something that's been waiting for such a long time. And the reason that I really want to get Reshade to work is that basically what it does, it allows you to add extra depth effects into Planet Coaster. And Reshade has existed for a long time, but the depth effect support for Planet Coaster is very recent. At least for most people. I still can't get it to work, but it basically allows you to add extra ambient occlusion and things like that. But most interestingly, it allows you to add adaptive fog into the game, which would make it possible to make Volvara seem like it's really in the clouds and make the in-game background invisible. So that's the kind of thing that I've been waiting for ever since I've been building Volvara. So for over a year already. So that would be really awesome. So as soon as I get that to work, I really want to try something like it. Oh, thanks, Bear. I might ask you about Reshade then. Yeah, I've also asked Variable himself about it, but he doesn't really know what's going on. Seems like I've been following most of the steps so far all right, but it's getting the Reshade to recognize the depth of Planet Coaster is where it's going wrong. So Reshade works, and I can open all of the effects, but it doesn't actually see the depth in the game, if you will. So yeah, hopefully eventually we'll see a Volvara with super cool weather effects. Do I play any other base building type games besides roller coaster games? I wouldn't really call it base building type games, but I'm just really into creative games in general. So I play a lot of City Skylines. Really want to get back into that as well very soon. I've been planning to make another Dutch city there. I've also been playing some Line Rider, and I might start a series on that. I know it's quite out of the blue, but I'm really into Line Rider, and I think it's enough of a fit for my channel to also make some videos of it at some point in the future. And recently I've been playing a lot of Celeste, which is not something that I can make videos of particularly, although I will do some stuff on my channel related to Celeste at some point in the future. But yeah, aside from that, I actually don't play a lot of video games. I'm really quite bad at video games also in general. If you try to put me in any first-person shooter or any actual strategy game, I'd be really bad probably. Hi, Solo do Florida. Thanks, man. I'm pretty nervous actually about the hardest scenarios because I know what's coming, and it's not looking very bright for me. But we'll see how it goes. I have played Zoo Tycoon 2 when I was younger. I don't remember too much about it though, because it never stuck with me as much as the Roller Coaster Tycoon series did. But yeah, I've played it. What do I study? So my course is called Urban Studies. I'm doing a master's in Urban Studies. So it's somewhere in between urban planning, I would say, and sociology. And especially with the courses that I'm taking though, is a bit of like sustainability and mobility and urban planning and things like that in there as well. So actually it's very closely related to what I do with City Skylines, trying to take the game a little bit beyond just being a game about aesthetics and thinking a bit more about sustainability and urban design and things like that. I don't want to build a specific Dutch city. My idea would be to sort of build an ideal Dutch city. I know saying ideal is quite a big thing, but it's in a similar sense as Ammer City, trying to emulate it while at the same time trying to improve on it a little bit. So I would like to, you know, make a Dutch city while focusing on those parts of a Dutch city that I think are quite good, like the bike lanes and public transport and things like that. Yeah, so I'm 22, and when I'm going to upload the next episode of Parkitect, I'm not sure, but definitely somewhere in the upcoming days. It shouldn't take another 3 weeks, definitely. And yeah, I'm Dutch. And yeah, Justin, to be honest, I think if you enjoy Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2 more than 3, Parkitect is maybe more of the game for you. It focuses a lot less on aesthetics, even though, as you could see, you could still focus on aesthetics, but it's much more of the traditional top-down perspective, and honestly, I think a much more of a focus on management and gameplay. At least I've seen almost everybody who plays Parkitect play it for the campaign mode, and almost everybody who plays Planet Coaster plays it for the sandbox mode. And I think that's a pretty good overview, honestly, of what both of these games are best at. I really like both of them, and it would be hard for me to choose any above the other, but I definitely think Parkitect is much more about the gameplay, and Planet Coaster much more of a complete sandbox game. I also need to keep track of some of the name recommendations. This is becoming quite a bit of a Q&A. I'm a little bit sick still, so maybe you can hear that in my voice, but pretty good. Did you guys just hear that? I heard a really weird voice just now. I'm sure that was in-game though. And yeah, I think this game also has less of a learning curve than Planet Coaster. You can do less with it for sure, but it also takes less time to get used to everything. Yeah, the guests in this game have some pretty funny voices. So I've seen $2.20 Park, and it looks super good. That said, I haven't seen like a full episode of it. I've just been keeping up with it generally, seeing how he is developing it. But I definitely need to watch more of it, because it's looking really cool so far. Very different approach from Maiden though, because it's very much of a sandbox park, and super realistic actually. But I really like it. Yeah, it's where you get close to the guests that you really hear all of the interesting noises that they make. So I've had some name recommendations for the floorless coaster that I need to start considering. But it's a bit of a job to scroll down through all of that. Oh, hi Euthris. Have I played No Limits 2? I have actually. I think I once did a live stream of it even. But I've never been particularly good at it, so that's why I've never made any videos of it. But also, yeah, it's super cool. I remember being like super excited that $2.20 was making Parkitect videos, because it's a bit of a crossover from a primarily City Skylines creator that is really cool to see. In general, it's funny to see how many of these people, you know, between the City Skylines community and the roller coaster simulation community, almost every creator has dabbled in the other part of the community, if you will. Like Fluxtrons first made it big with Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 and Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 videos. Strict Toaster's done some stuff on Planet Coaster, etc. And for me, I've sort of got a foot in both of these worlds as well. So it's interesting how these two particular subgenres are so closely interlinked. Attraction and theme park management in Breda. I didn't even know that's a thing. Oh, hi Scott. Yeah, the sounds in this game are quite a thing. Yeah, just okay. I'm gonna bust your identity here. It's just the God, I forgot the event manager. Is that like a good name? Of Walibi Holland is in here, so we've got like a true celebrity in here. Great job on the Untamed episodes, by the way. But yeah, why don't I study that thing in Breda? To be honest, I've always been a bit careful about my interest and what I study. Not sure if that was a good decision in hindsight, but I did always want to try to study more something that I'm not per se super passionate about, but that I'm really interested in, and I feel like it could be more of a an actual professional field to get into. And while I really love theme parks, I don't know if I would ever work professionally in any theme park related business. If the opportunity arises though, I'd be open for it. Oh, Ground Zero is a really cool name. Ground Zero I think would be a good name for the launched coaster though. I don't know why, but it feels particularly good for the launch coaster. Grapefruits. Oh god. What's my favorite attraction in Parkitect? I think it's the super like hypercube top spin. We don't have it in this scenario, I think. No, we do actually. The tourbillon, I guess. I don't know. That thing is super cool. Oh, and height projection. I'm not gonna name another coaster Sandstorm. I'm sorry. Don't know if that's a good idea. I like Ground Zero for the launched coaster though. I might go with that. Okay, so this is gonna be very difficult to blueprint because there's a lot of stuff in here, but let's just try it anyway. Oh yeah, of course I'm gonna need to have these supports in here as well. Okay, so let's take this. There we go. And that's... we're gonna need to add this whole catwalk thing. And finally the catwalk over here. And that should be a bit about it for that, yep. Yeah, it's true though that Ground Zero does refer a little bit to that. I think actually, given the sci-fi theme of the ride, I like the name Comet actually. But yeah, given the sci-fi theme of the park, maybe it would be better to have something that's a little bit more strictly related to space or science. SpaceX. I'm actually gonna name this Comet. I really like that name. It's super simple, but I haven't seen it too often for coasters. From The Expanse. I have no idea how to pronounce that name, I'm sorry. But I'm gonna look that up real quick. Oh right, it still says Special Planet Coaster Livestream if you haven't refreshed the page. That's true. Actually, I have this secret dream of one day doing video essays. Protostar, that's awesome. Aphelion, oh that's really cool as well. God, really killing it with the names now. Aphelion, that's super cool. I'm actually gonna go with that. I really like that. For the floorless coaster, I mean. Also, I know I've said this in the video, but guys, this over here... Okay, actually... Maybe I should turn on some window capture and look this up. Because I realized that the Stuck 71 sets from Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 look almost exactly like some of the pieces in Parkitect. And I don't know if this is coincidence. Maybe I should actually ask the devs about this, but it looks super similar. I guess I've already showed that off pretty well in the episode, but for those of you who haven't seen it, look up Stuck 71 in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 and compare his custom scenery work to some of the scenery items that you see in here. It's uncanny how similar it is. So yeah, that's the station. I do want to have that little bit of a roof there. Can always remove some pieces. And actually, yeah, that's it. It's pretty simple. So a feeling it is. Stuck 71 is a legend. God, I made use of those pieces so many times. So maybe the Eurofighter could be called Protostar. Because I do really like that name as well. It's gonna be a bit difficult because this ride is heavily based on the terrain. So it's kind of built onto this hill and the station is a little bit higher than some of the other parts of the ride. So there's a bit of a challenge there. So I'm not quite sure how to address that. Should I blueprint this? It's at least worth a try, isn't it? Yeah, let's just try it. Whoa, something broke down? Nobody cares about that ride. Oh, there is a bit of a queue. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe you guys care about this ride. Massive attack while playing, that would work. Yeah, definitely. Oh, right, about the video essays. No, that was about SpaceX, because people were talking about SpaceX, and I don't like Elon Musk, but for some reasons that nobody's really talked about that much. But so I study urban studies, right? And Elon Musk has verbally explained that he hates public transport, and I hate Elon Musk for that. Maybe I'm a little bit short-sighted, but I think he's being a bit too harsh on public transport. Maybe it's understandable because he's a car. He sells cars, but you know, sometimes, actually, very often I do think like he's getting more praise than he deserves. At the end of the day, he's just an entrepreneur. He's just really good at marketing himself. That doesn't mean that he's the next meme lord. Right, I wanted to call this Protostar, right? Did I capture everything? That's just about the important stuff. The roofs. Oh, good point. Oh, gonna have to add that. Thank you. I'll try and remember that. Yeah, public transport sucks, but I feel like he was attacking the idea of public transport, and I don't know, there's something off about that. And I think him being a car seller, he has something to gain from keeping America as car-centric as it is right now. And I don't think he invests much in the Hyperloop. He was the one who came up with the idea, but all of the companies who are currently trying to build Hyperloops, well, Elon Musk is completely not attached to that at all. Also, I don't ever see the Hyperloop happening. It would be a good way to travel around distant planets. That would be true. But here on Earth, we've got maglev trains and lots of good enough trains that aren't extremely expensive and hard to maintain, so I think we'll be fine without a Hyperloop. Yeah, in the context of public transport, he was saying something along the lines of, and I don't want to misrepresent him here and don't want to get too political, but something along the lines of, you know, being stuck with other people. Which is a shame, you know. There's this really cool video of like Kim Wilde singing "Kids in America" with her brother somewhere on like the London trains. Stuff like that would only happen on public transport. Also, I want to get back to the question about the definition of the definition of a roller coaster, because to be completely frank, even roller coaster enthusiasts are heavily debating this and nobody knows for sure. So really I couldn't give you a very good definition. The most widely accepted thing that most people use to guesstimate what is a roller coaster and what isn't is to see if it has a roller coaster database page. So there's this website called RCDB, and a lot of people would say if it's got a page on RCDB, that makes it a roller coaster. And a definition that a lot of coaster enthusiasts also hold on to is if it's a ride on rails that uses kinetic energy, potential energy, really, I guess. Well, not per se. Actually, yeah, sort of. But yeah, a ride on rails that uses kinetic energy to traverse the rails, and anything that obeys to that would be a roller coaster. And that means that a train wouldn't, because it's propelling itself rather than gravity. But anything that coasts, which is what they would call it on the track, without any... actually, that is precisely where things get difficult, because that means that a lot of people are arguing whether powered coasters are roller coasters or not, because they're pretty much like a metro, except fast and with banked curves and stuff. Oh, well, the stream was gone apparently. Is it back up? It seems to be back up. But yeah, TLWL, I guess. Yeah, the commonly accepted definition among coaster enthusiasts is that a roller coaster is a roller coaster when it coasts. So when it's on rails and it's powered by gravity. And even if it's 1 meter tall, it's a roller coaster. That's also where Larsen loops become a bit of a difficult thing. That's true. And this was especially difficult when I forgot the name of the company. I don't know, maybe some people in the chat know this, but the company that made the sort of infinity symbol coaster, so the Larsen loop, but instead of a single loop, it's 2 dive loops in a row. That's where things became even more difficult, because one of the ways in which I think a lot of people would say the Larsen loop is not a roller coaster is that it's one big connected train that encompasses the whole ride, sort of. Then again, there are some Schwarzkopf coasters that used to do that back in the day as well. It's just difficult. A Q&A video, is there any more interest in that? Because honestly, I would be down to make one. Because there's too many questions though, you can keep going with that stuff. But it would be better than a stream, I think, because I would be able to, you know, for one, I would be able to choose my answers a little bit more carefully without blurting out anything that I come up with. But also just work a little bit better, because as you can see, the internet is a bit of an issue. In any case, that's just about it for this scenario. So let's get back and see if there's anything else that I can make into a blueprint. Also, yeah, I'm sorry about the Larsen Loop Coaster College, but I'd be lying if I'd say that that doesn't still amuse me. Any plans to visit Codonas in Scotland? Is that a theme park? Are there theme parks in Scotland aside from M&Ds? I mean, JLW games, I think it sort of matters to roller coaster enthusiasts, because if something is a roller coaster, it adds to your quote-unquote coaster count, and it's a credit. And the more credits you have, the higher you are in the social ranks of roller coaster enthusiastdom. So that's where it plays a role. That's actually why a lot of people are mad at this tiny ride called a Butterfly. For those of you who are coaster enthusiasts, you probably know what I'm talking about, and It's a very funny story, but there's basically this tiny little flat ride called a butterfly, but Roller Coaster Database counts it as a roller coaster because it's just a simple track that goes back and forth with a tiny little car on it, and this thing is super tiny. It just looks like a playground instrument, really. And this car gets lifted to one side of the track, and then the quote-unquote coaster lets go of it, and it just swings back and forth on this tiny little track. And it's technically a coaster because it's powered by gravity and it's on the rails, but it's absolutely tiny. It's meant more or less for children, and it's an easy way to rake up tons of credits because Germany is full of these little things because they're pretty much like playground instruments, but the database counts it as roller coasters, I think. Yeah, it's pretty much a sled on a rail. Show us where you are in the campaign. Well, I just completed Archipelago Adventures, and it's given me gold because I got 2 of the optional goals, but I didn't get all of them even, so... But I didn't know that this turned gold. It's pretty cool. And next up we have Adventure Island, which I know for a fact is a really difficult and annoying scenario, and Batavia Cay. And these are both very interesting because they're both kind of similar. They're both islands with already a pre-existing coaster on it, so that's going to be interesting. Oh, and yeah, I was on about Skyline attractions. Thanks for the reminder on that. Oh yeah, now you have the mountain coaster discussion. I do think alpine coasters count as a proper coaster though. If anything, I actually really like them as well. They're longer in duration than most actual coasters. And just because you have a break yourself, I don't think that really detracts from it being a roller coaster. People are asking me to spoil everything. Yeah, I made some of these scenarios, and I think it's so far I quite like it. It's a little bit easy though. It's a tiny bit easier than I expected. That said, I'm still keeping decently close tabs with the devs of the game, and so far the response seems to be that a lot of people think that the scenario is either too hard or too easy, and from the way that I've sort of gathered it, it's maybe because some people just have a lot of experience in these kinds of games, like played a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon and are playing Parkitect now because it, you know, fits exactly what they're used to. But then these scenarios are actually pretty easy to do once, you know, you're used to this kind of genre, and if you've got a lot of experience in Roller Coaster Tycoon. But then if you don't have as much experience in the genre, which has become kind of like a very expert-ish niche, I can definitely see why these scenarios would be quite difficult, because there's a lot of different variables that you need to keep in mind here. At least there's more than in, let's say, the old Roller Coaster Tycoon scenarios, because you also need to worry about the immersion of the scenery and the supply of goods and trash delivery and staff training and things like this. How do I manage money in the game while still building? One of the ways I think in which it just becomes a little bit easier is the fact that scenery pieces just aren't very expensive. You can build quite a bit of scenery for the price of one ride, so you don't have to sacrifice too much of your profitability to make the park very heavily themed. And really the approach that I'm now taking to the Parkitect parks is basically the way that I used to play these kinds of games for a long time already. So for me personally, it's something that I'm just used to, and I think that experience in earlier games definitely helps trying to play them the same way as I'm currently doing in Parkitect. But yeah, it's doable, at least so far. I don't want to say anything about the later scenarios, and there is a lot to come here. You can actually sort of peek through the clouds. It's what's what's over here. And yeah, that's everything. So there's still a lot of land to explore here, and this is what I've got so far. So actually, come to think of it, I'm almost halfway, I think. So that's pretty nice. Oh, and yeah, the terrain definitely gets harder from this point onward as well. I can't really show you anything, and I don't want to spoil anything either. But trust me, there are some scenarios more late game where the terrain gets harder and the maps get smaller. Although I've heard many people say this, and I can probably second this as well. Disaster Peaks might be the most difficult scenario in the game. The thing that makes Disaster Peaks so difficult is that you start off this park with some tremendously broken rides and super vandalized paths, and overall it's just a mess that you need to fix. And on top of that, there's some pretty difficult goals, so that's going to be quite a challenge. In what way am I involved in the development of this game? So I basically make the scenarios. Some of the scenarios are also made by the devs, and there are some scenarios which were made by a guy called Joshua. For Joshua, it was different though than in my case. They just saw the scenarios that he made and decided to reach out to him and ask if they could be put into the game. And for me, ask me specifically, at least this is how I remember it being. Sorry if I'm wrong here, but for me, they asked me specifically if I wanted to make scenarios for the game, and that was a little over a year ago now, and I've just been gradually chipping away at making scenarios for this. So I'm just sharing back and forth some ideas with the devs and showing them things of what I'm thinking of or working on. And yeah, that's how the scenarios get made. I have quite a bit of freedom in this, but before moving into it, we did try to establish as much as possible a shared idea and shared goals of what the scenarios should be like. Oh right, the frigid flows over there. So there's a cool Aurora Borealis, there we go, on top of here. And I don't recall the name of this park, but there's an icy park in here with a pretty difficult terrain. And I know also a lack of rides that you get from the start of the scenario. So a lot of people have also been complaining that this is a pretty difficult scenario. I think actually I might play that as the scenario after Adventure Island. So the way that I'm going about this is I'm first doing Archipelago Adventures, then Adventure Island. And even though I already got Batavia K, I think I want to do the ice one after that, just because it'll be a nice change of pace from all of the tropical scenarios so far. Oh god, Rainbow Valley was that was a pain. I really disliked the scenarios like that. That said, there are some scenarios in Parkitect also where you're not allowed to remove certain things, but it never gets as crazy as some of the don't destroy the trees and do not terraform scenarios in Roller Coaster Tycoon. Yeah, I'm also sorry for all of the spoilers. But yeah, that said, if you're up to date with the videos, there isn't really any spoilers. But if you're still playing the game, I would definitely recommend to turn off the stream, because there will be quite a bit of spoilers. Not just from my side, but definitely a lot of people in the comments as well. Do you manage to make the mods work? I haven't tried any mods actually so far, because I'm trying to make this a vanilla playthrough. I'm actually not responsible for the orchard scenarios. Hi Gulliver Goomba. Okay, so the way that I actually wanted to go about doing this is to just... actually, that's where the spoilers are going to be, so I'm actually going to not show anything of that. Actually, that's also spoilers. Well. I'm just gonna load a new park. Nope, that actually doesn't work. What about new scenario? Yeah, that should work. I think you can make blueprints in a scenario. Let's just generate a flatland. Yeah, just go ahead with that. Yeah, you can make blueprints in a scenario. Alright. I just didn't want to scroll through anything because there's just spoilers in some of the pictures as well. If you want to see spoilers for yourself, I guess you can pause and scroll back through that, but I'm trying to show as little as I can here. Why am I looking at this? I actually want to open some blueprints in here. Okay, so that's just deco. That's not what I need. So first of all, oh, and I really wanted to show this off because this is such a cool blueprint. I didn't make this, for the record. I forgot who built this, but you can find this on the Steam Workshop right now. This is an absolutely amazing Japanese build. I really love this. I never expected that with the in-game vanilla pieces, you could get this in detail with the Japanese build, but this person did a phenomenal job on this. Even the decorations on top of the roof, and the really cool like wavy red roof on the front of it. And there's even a torii gate over here with some lanterns underneath it. It's super cool. Really like this build. So yeah, I was just super impressed with how this person made some Japanese scenery. This is one of my favorite builds ever. I don't know, I just wanted to show that off before I get into my relatively inferior blueprints over here. Okay, so first off we have Centipede. That works really well. Straight out the gate, damn. Let's remove the pot though. I want to stick to just the station here. Maybe I should just use this. Want to be a little bit careful with what I'm removing, but still, this should make things a little bit easier. There we go. Actually, I guess I'll keep some of the decorations around the station. Yeah, because that looks pretty cool. I like that. And yeah, that's basically it. Am I going to do a Japanese theme, or is there going to be a Japanese scenario? Well, both of these things actually. I couldn't stop myself from making some Japanese themed scenarios. So there's two of them. One of them is clearly Japanese, the other one is a little bit more subtle, I think. Don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, there will be some Japanese scenarios, and I do want to try and make some Japanese themes in there. Also want to give a very quick shout out to Studio K on YouTube. And I think the way this is spelled is with C-A-Y. He's a Korean YouTuber who makes absolutely amazing playthroughs of all the scenarios. It's so cool. I've actually been watching a lot of his videos just because it's interesting to see what he makes out of the scenarios. And every time he sort of takes a similar approach to me, taking the theme that you already get in the scenario and just building on that. But he does it so well. I really, really recommend watching his videos. It's just super interesting to see what he makes out of the scenarios. And he already has a video out on one of the Japanese scenarios. It's his most recent video, or maybe by now his second most recent video, but it came out very recently anyway, and it's just super cool. So Studio K on YouTube, I think that's what it's called. If I could post the link, okay. I forgot the V in there. It's Studio KV. I guess that's how you pronounce it. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I had it open here in the background anyway, so you can see the link over there. So that's his That's not his latest video, actually. Maybe I should link his channel instead. Oops. But yeah, that's his channel anyway. If you want to check out his channel, you can find it in the link down there. With that all said, I think it's time to upload this little blueprint here. Do I want to keep it this way? I think I can remove these plants and stuff around the building. Just want to keep it simple. There we go. Loses a lot of its charm without all of that scenery though, but yeah, that's how it be. I do like the colors on the station though, especially the dark rocks on the bottom there. And what also works quite well, I think, is using fences as decoration. So there's some wooden picket fences here for the roof decorations. Okay, so let's grab this whole thing. Easy peasy. Centipede, right? Oh. It didn't say it replaced anything, so I think I... Right, that's with a T. Shouldn't have done that. Alright, let's try that again. Centipede. Yep. Alrighty then. I think we're good. Looks like it. It dips a little bit every now and then, but for the most part my bitrate is on a pretty good 2000 at the moment. I think it should be alright again. You know, yeah, it is really quiet right now. Yeah, I'll just put some basic stuff in the background. Need to give myself some playlists that I can play during streams, actually. The only thing I have is the one that I made for the Vara stream that I did earlier. In any case, that should be it for this coaster. I think I should be able to also upload it to the workshop then, right? No, I'm gonna have to do that through the menu. Do you know why, while building coasters, you can have extreme ratings, but when you open everything is normal? That's not something that has occurred to me so far. Do you mean the ratings change when you open the ride? That's interesting. No, I've never noticed that so far, actually. What's a style you haven't built in, but want to? That's also actually really difficult. I've done like so many different things already. I've always thought about like more obscure themes as something really interesting, like Indian would be really interesting, but the things that make these choices difficult as well is that there's just so many different cultures in India, for instance. It would be really hard to come up with anything. But there's just some really cool themes in there. Baltic, I messed around a little bit with in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which I also think is a pretty cool, interesting theme. Something like an Estonian, like medieval style Hanseatic theme would be super cool. You don't see a lot of Scandinavian. I haven't done a lot of Scandinavian, but I've done some. Or Chinese theme. As much as I've done Japanese, I don't know much about Chinese, so it would be cool to try something like that as well. Before the rides complete a cycle, the ratings are random. That makes sense. I don't play I don't play Parkitect. What? I don't study architecture actually. Oh yeah, as for hangar, I'm just used to that because that's the way you pronounce it in Dutch. Maybe I should start saying hangar. It sounds wrong. It sounds like I'm doing something terrible. But it is just hangar, isn't it? I think so. Okay, so we did Centipede, cute little thing. And I know why it's not letting me place it there, but sure. This looks pretty good actually. Even outside of the context of the scenario, the layout I think works pretty well. I like how it's also a fairly standard Eurofighter layout, it's just a little bit more spread out than they usually are. Actually, let's grab this. So what makes this tool a little bit easier is that you can drag instead of having to click everything separately. I'm gonna have to repair a few things about this build though, but yeah, it's not too bad. Actually, I noticed there's a misplaced fence over there. Oops. And a misplaced wall. Well, not much I can do about that now. And I need to get rid of this over here. Actually gonna have to lower the floor a little bit so I can look into that. Okay, there's no path. That's good. But I do want to get rid of this weird little wall over here. And there should be a fence, which it didn't copy because the fence is part of another grid tile, so that's something to keep in mind. I am super glad that this game has the pipette tool though, because it's so useful. And there's a bit of glitching going on there. Alright, we're good. Oh, sorry. I tried to mute my mic there, but it didn't work. Hi, Micro Joe. Yeah, I was honestly, the word windsock is just weird, but I guess it fits. It's good to remember as well. I suppose it probably started, you know, being a thing because somebody put a sock on a pole and decided that this would be a good way to check the weather. Right. The thing about the stats is actually a good point. And also, honestly, if anybody finds anything about the game that's off or wrong, because this happens a lot, to be quite honest, the devs are in the Parkitect Discord as well, and they'll be there anytime for any bug reports or anything that you think is sketchy about the game. So I've seen a lot of things actually get fixed because people just bring it up in the Parkitect Discord, and the devs happen to be able to check it. Oh, I already had a fence there, I guess. Well, I think this color looks slightly better, so I'm gonna stick with this. So there's that. I don't know if you're hearing the button of my mic. I'm just trying to mute myself every now and then. Alright, see ya, Hydra. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, the grid lines always appear when you're placing stuff, which is quite handy. Although I do have to say I like keeping them kind of subtle. You can turn them up a lot more, but I think it becomes really distracting at some point. Oh wait, there's a rock underneath that. I don't want no rocks. And that should be good. Let's check. Yep. Alright. This thing is called vertical. Oh, maybe I should rename my coasters before I put them on the workshop. There it is. Sandstorm. Actually, might as well just grab this whole area. Shouldn't forget about the loop supports. And there we go. Yep. Alright, that's 2 blueprints. But definitely the easiest ones. The other ones aren't quite as easy to turn into a Steam workshopable blueprint, I think. God, I should have made this map a lot larger. Gonna run out of space here soon. So this thing is quite high off the ground as well, but I'm just gonna have to deal with that. Ooh, hello, 5 map movie makers. Yeah, this was actually low-key named after the root Sandstorm. I didn't know, actually. Thanks for the windsock facts. I don't know too much about YouTube versus Twitch streaming, to be quite honest. I do think I recently preferred YouTube streaming a little bit over Twitch streaming, just because there's more of an audience here. But I've always liked Twitch more as a platform to stream on, and maybe this is just because I'm used to it more, but just the way that the chat works and everything, I prefer over YouTube. Why won't you let me delete this? Alright, guess that fixed it. Definitely don't want to have any umbrellas in here. And I'm just going to remove the paths. Don't want to have those in the blueprints. That said, there's some funky glitching going on there. I can't really do anything about, so actually I am gonna just have the paths move out a little bit because I don't have any of that Z fighting. Oh, that's the wrong one. Actually, I never used that path. Maybe I should start using that at some point. Yeah, let's just do something like this real quick. And just support this. Not going to do too much with this, but I'll just put some simple supports underneath it. You got a straight... Oh, very good point. Ah, thank you. There's a bit of a... Actually, there's nothing else there. Should also check some of this stuff, because this is not supposed to be here. In fact... Okay, so the supports actually connect to this, but this whole thing over here is really just a path element, so I'm going to have to rework that a little bit. Just want to be careful to not remove anything that's related to the coaster or the supports. Alright. Oh. What am I gonna do with that though? Yeah, might as well just build something really simple real quick. And I'll put that over it. It looks alright. So I think this is decently ploppable in any park. It would definitely work best in a sort of industrial or sci-fi looking park though. I'm gonna actually lower this to the ground though. My OCD can't handle that. Good. And there's a few fences missing here. The whole combination of bright orange and very dark grayish industrial tints is super cool though. I don't know what first started that trend, but I think it's a pretty common thing, but I really like it. There aren't really any Cuphead remixes. The current playlist that I'm playing is just the soundtrack that I use for Volvara, because that's what I was working on when I was putting this playlist together. And the problem is that most of the playlists I have, usually I use Spotify for my music, so that would all be copyrighted. Leon says, please, I need park. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean with that. Could you elaborate on that a little bit? Why do I hate Mitchell? Mitchell is just the worst name. Like, anybody who's from the Netherlands knows this. Mitchells are just up to no good. Anybody who has the name Mitchell, don't trust them. It's a suspicious name. So these fences should be a pretty decent way, I think, also of putting some connectors in between these supports. Yeah, I really like that. Nice. Alright, that's pretty neat. Let's just upload this. I definitely think the station looks a little bit weird with the paths like this, but it's just something simple. Okay, that should be everything. Yep. Oh, hold on, what's the name of the coaster? Because I do want to rename it before I upload it. Oh, right, comments. So, comets it is. Can you rewatch YouTube streams? Only if I upload them as a video. I honestly don't think that this one is really good enough as a video, so I'm sorry, probably not. That said though, good luck on your Dutch test. Hope that goes alright. Can you ride coasters in this game? Unfortunately not. It's just from an isometric perspective. So it's mostly inspired by the old, well, theme park games like Roller Coaster World or the original Roller Coaster Tycoon games. And it has a similar sort of art style, and in the same vein, there is no online coaster cam. That said, you can get mods to unlock a 3D view and to unlock an on-ride coaster POV camera mode. Actually, I'm gonna need to remove some stuff before I build other blueprints. Okay, let's select this. Get this out of here. God, it's fun to remove stuff. Just see it slowly disappearing. That's really cool. I'm not removing the Japanese coaster though, it looks way too good. Weep. Alright. What's next? So here's Aphelion. This thing is gonna be a little bit annoying, I think. I think I'm just gonna lower the station a little bit. That would probably be best. The station looks really bad like this though. Forget about it. I'm actually just gonna raise the whole thing. That means that the whole thing is pretty high off the ground, but I just cannot bear to look at that station. God. That's how much of a difference a sort of plateau to build the station on makes. I think this looks so much better. Yep. Alright. Let's get this out of there. Is there anything else that I need to remove? Just one floating hedge. Alright. Well, I think that's already it for Aphelion. Just need to rename it. Oh god, I forgot to name Comet, didn't I? Oh well. It's not the end of the world. And select all of that. And make that a new blueprint. Alright. Yep, this is the coaster from the last episode. Actually, this is the one on the thumbnail. And I quite like this thing actually, even though it's really small. And seeing it like this is a bit weird because it was built on a hill originally. So that's why all of this is quite high off the ground. But still, I think it works alright on its own. It's not too bad. But yeah, just a simple B&M floorless coaster. It was mostly inspired by Hair Razor. If you look up a picture of Hair Razor, you can probably see where the inspiration comes from. It has that very similar, especially started the layout with the curve down here. Somebody noticed that I didn't put a pre-drop and asked why I didn't put a pre-drop in here. And to be completely honest, I just forgot about it. Might want to start putting that in some of my rides from now on, because it's not entirely realistic for a B&M floorless coaster from the era of Hair Razor to not have a pre-drop. Which is basically when after the lift hill you have this little dip before you go into the actual drop to relieve the tension of the chain lift. Oh right, you wanted a park sandbox. Yeah, this is just piece by piece. Actually, I can show off the coaster creator for a second if you want to see it. And about the sandbox mode, I'm not going to go into a sandbox mode before I'm done with all of the campaign mode, so I'm sorry about that. For now, I'm trying to focus on the campaign mode itself. So, the way that I remember it being about the pre-drops is that B&M stopped having pre-drops after a certain year. I don't exactly recall what that year was. So then the newer B&M floorless coasters will have no pre-drop. But the old ones will have one. But yeah, that's a very fair point. Oh yeah, and for actually having block sections at lower parts of the track is something that I would avoid, because if it needs to be stopped on that block section in case of an emergency, it's gonna get stuck. So you always need to get the coaster to make the rest of the track, even if it gets stopped on the block section. But that said, yeah, these layouts aren't super efficient because there's not a lot of block sections in these, and there's only one here at the end. So if you wanted to make this more efficient from an in-game perspective, I would probably, you know, not have it go down here and have a straight section over here where you have like a block break section in the middle of the ride. But to be completely honest, I'm not very concerned about that. Well, you can maybe play Parkitect right now and have the stream on in the background. That's something you could try at least, I guess. Oh, right. Thanks for helping out, by the way, Funfighter. If you want the park saves from the Let's Play, that's actually something that I forgot to upload so far, but I'll definitely get to that. Good reminder. Okay, no, I'm not making a scenario. One last thing. I think there's only 1 or 2 coasters left. Okay, it's only Protostar. This is gonna be a bit of a challenge, actually. Ooh, does that even work? Okay, yeah, that works. It's just gonna have to be a very tall station. Let's get rid of that. Actually, let's just get the bulldozer tool to get rid of some stuff. Oh, thanks Vicky, and good luck with your classes. Hi Hans, as for your question, my everyday profession is that I'm just a student. I study urban studies, so no, it's not really related to this. But that said, I am using this pretty much as my student job. So this is what pays the bills for me, even if it's not a lot of bills. So in a sort of way, this is my profession, but really by day, I'm just a student. Oh, I didn't expect that to actually reach the ground. I don't think I have to build anything else here. Alright then, that's a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. So I can pretty much upload this as is, I think. Yep, should be fine. Alright, so this is Protostar. Do want to rename that accordingly. And just grab a little bit more than that. Oh, and I shouldn't forget about the supports on the top there. I've actually looked into the urban studies in Utrecht, but no, I study in Brussels. Yeah, to be honest, my life over here on YouTube is definitely very different from my real life in the university. Although slowly but surely my fellow students are finding out about my channel, which is always interesting. Did I get everything? Yeah, I should. Oh, why did I do that? God. All right, Protostar it is, and that should be that. Oh God, that's a lot of Q&A questions. Okay. What's my favorite coaster in park? My favorite coaster is God, I should remember this better. What was my number one? It's of course it's Terran in Phantasialand, just for everything around it. The scenery, the atmosphere, the soundtrack. It's super comfortable. The layout is amazing. I love the launches. Even the way that the ride smells. You fly through these buildings and it smells like Flammkuchen. It's amazing. I really love it. So yeah, I'm also quite a coaster enthusiast, if you couldn't tell. Some other questions that I thought were interesting. Hold on, let me scroll back there. I haven't tried Park Asterix, and actually I've been to Disney in Paris, but I was 4 when I went, so I don't know if that really counts. One day I really need to get back there, In fact, one day I really need to go to Paris because it's the one big European city that I've actually never properly visited. So that's something. What if people find out about my meme page? I've told some people about this, but my study is very international. Like, there's lots of people from different countries on this course, so barely anyone speaks Dutch, so it doesn't really matter too much anyway. Tried adding my francophone Belgian friend in there, who's trying to learn Dutch, but the memes aren't really helping there, to be honest. I've never been to St. Petersburg, actually. Definitely would love to go there one day as well. I've been to the States, but only once, and I went to LA, so that's probably not the best impression of the country, so I definitely should go back there one day too. My favorite color is blue. Just a little small fact, I suppose. What game is this? As some other people already pointed out, thanks. It's Parkitect. Which Phantasialand? The one and only, near Cologne in Germany. I'm not really aware of any other Phantasialands, to be honest. Now, I'm kind of stuck here. I'm not sure what to do. If you guys have any other ideas besides just answering questions from the chat on what you want me to do, please do let me know, because this is pretty much all I could think of, because this is a very impulsively started stream, so I didn't really come up with anything specific to do. I could review stuff from the workshop though. That's actually really cool. Wait, is this... I always forget where you upload stuff to the workshop. Can I just download things while I'm in the game? Ah, this is for the new challenge actually. Wow, there's some really cool stuff in here. I finished all the campaigns in Parkitect. Any idea if there will be new ones anytime soon? I don't think so. And even if I knew, I don't know if I'd be able to say anything about it. That said, I have it on pretty good authority that the developers do want to follow up with more expansions when it comes to the scenarios. It's just, using the word soon, I want to be a bit more careful about that. But at some point in time there should be some more stuff. For now though, I think there are also some good scenarios in the workshop that you can try out. Or maybe just try a sandbox park in the meantime. Oh, why did I ignore you? I don't know. I knew Amy a little bit better and I was like, I don't know how well I know you, but if you really want me to add you, I'm open for it. I actually barely know Amy either. I just saw her in Extreme Rise and I know she's a friend of Joey, so that's why. Oh yeah, I've seen the community campaign project. It's super cool. I really like the idea. I hope they finish it. I've never been to Alton Towers. That's definitely one of my top bucket list coasters, theme parks as well. Have I started the next scenario yet? I have. If you guys are open for spoilers, I've asked this before, but I want to be absolutely sure. Because if you're not open for spoilers, this is going to spoil the whole next episode. But if you guys are open for it, I can show the next park. But then again, yeah, it would spoil the whole next episode. How large is my backyard? Well, I just live in a measly little student dorm, so there's not much of a backyard. Unfortunately though, the landlord isn't doing much with the backyard. It's completely abandoned, which is a bit of a shame because all the backyards next to us are like super cool. There's a really cool view though. I live at the back of the building and I have a balcony. And there's a elementary school right next to well, right behind our building actually, with this really nice park. So it looks super cool. Only downside is that around, you know, noon, all the kids go outside and play outside. So that's pretty loud, but it's also kind of cool. You know, it's gezellig, as you would say in Dutch. Marcus, I'm definitely a coaster enthusiast. Watching kids on my balcony, hell no. Oh no, I don't want to make the wrong impressions here. However, it makes you feel a little bit less lonely, I suppose. What are the specs on the PC/laptop that you're using? So I'm on PC. From what I remember, the specs are an i7 processor, GTX 970 graphics card, 16 gigs of RAM, which for City Skylines is becoming a little bit on the small side. Actually need to start expanding that. And yeah, that's the important stuff mostly. I can see why you retracted a message where you said yeet. The City Skylines when? Soon. There are 2 songs, sorry. That's because I was in the sandbox mode earlier, so there was no music there, so I put up some music. But now there's some Parkitect music. What do you think about the new Vogelrok editions? I don't know if you'll believe me on this, but I actually don't know anything about it. I'll look that up after the stream ends. Right. With those clues and your Brussels car-free video, it's time to try and locate your cot. To be honest, if you check the beginning of that video, you can quite easily figure out where I live. You can see the street, you can see a junction, so that should make things pretty easy, I think. Alright, have fun skiing, by the way. Did I see the YouTube video with the backyard coaster? I like to believe that I've seen all of them, but to be honest, there are quite a few of those. And I always forget which ones I've seen, but I've seen quite a few of them. I don't know if this one that you're talking about came out recently. Yep, I've seen $2.20's Parkitect series. Although I've not really watched it, and I've been meaning to watch it because I've seen how he's been progressing and I've seen the park and it looks super cool, but I haven't really watched the videos themselves. But yeah, I'm super impressed by what he's been building. It looks amazing. Right, the one with the corkscrew. Is that the one called Blue Flash? Because that's a legend. That's a really cool coaster. Probably the best backyard coaster ever? I think so. I'm definitely not going to do a Knex roller coaster series. I don't know anything about Knex. And not doing a sandbox park anytime soon either. At least not as long as I'm still working on the campaign. What time is it over here? It's 22:13. I know, it's military time for the Americans out there. And as for Volvara, I've talked about this a little bit on the stream before, but I'm trying to figure out a program called Reshade to try and get some weather effects into Volvara, which I want to get for a final cinematic video. So I'm planning to make that final cinematic video somewhere soon, but I haven't been able to get Reshade to work yet, so it kind of depends on that. Hi Renee. And yeah, it is getting pretty late, to be honest. Oh, hi Vilma. That's my mom right there. At least she, unless someone is impersonating her. Have I ever tried No Limits? I have. I actually really like it, but I'm not really good at it, so that's why I haven't made any videos on it. Oh, hi Pierre. I recognize that name actually. You're welcome for the highlight. I really love the coaster. Yeah, I was just scrolling back up to see if people cared about spoilers, but it seems like people care more about doing a quick Q&A here. I'm not really sending anything to Channel 5 Gaming because I think the most important things about showcasing things like that is to try and get an audience for it, and not to like humbly brag. This is more to try and keep my stuff off that channel. I think I've already got my own audience, so I don't too much see the point in getting a viewer. I like the idea of trying to predict the new coaster, but to be honest, I'm also not one to really predict things. I've never really done that thing before, and I also think some people will probably inevitably end up doing it and do it better than I can, so I'd rather focus on just trying to build my own stuff. It's a video from Wired in February. Alright, I might check that actually, because there's this really well-known backstage coaster called Blue Flash. Backstage, I mean backyard, which had a corkscrew in it, but it might be about the same coaster because documentaries about that one have been coming out sporadically for a while now. But it might also be something else, so thanks, I'll see. On the new dueling Intamin invert sit-down thing. Is that the one in China? The really weird sort of shuttle coaster? That's the only Intamin dueling inverted sit-down coaster that I can remember, I think. Okay, I'm not going to spoil anything because not everybody's really had the time or opportunity to reply to that, so gonna be a bit more careful on that. But that said, there's not a lot of other things I can show you here in Parkitect. What's my favorite meme? It's definitely the one... Okay, so I'm not gonna do this strictly about Dutch memes because I don't think I really have a favorite Dutch meme, but my favorite meme ever is just the Borgar one. The one with, which is from iRobot, I think. Or is it just Robot? No, I think it's iRobot. Where Will Smith is asked by a robot what he wants to get from McDonald's and he's just like, Borgar. I don't know, it just cracks me up, it still does. The new flying coaster in Phantasialand looks so good. I'm just afraid that they're not going to be able to finish it for this year's season. So, yeah, that's giving me a bit of a heart attack thinking about it, but it looks amazing. Really looking forward to it. Actually, maybe it's not Borgar. Shitted and farted is also really good. I hate it. I hate that I laugh at this. It's just one of those things which I don't get why, but like anytime any variation on like I've shitted and farted, I just laugh at it. And I don't know why, but maybe that's what makes it funny. Will Smith Aladdin, I mean, is Will Smith anything other than a meme right now? Between the whole Borgar thing and the freaking that's hot thing, and now actually it's Aladdin in English, isn't it? The whole Aladdin thing, it's just a meme. I don't really particularly hate it. I have no strong feelings one way or the other about him portraying the genie, but he's just becoming a living meme, slowly but surely. Well, maybe that's been happening ever since the 90s. I mean, the Wild Wild West was a thing as well. I low-key like his YouTube channel though. I watched that video where he was talking about the story about why he turned down the role for Neo from the Matrix. Actually, did he? Yeah, he turned down that role, and he even admitted himself, you know, in hindsight, the Matrix would have been not nearly as good of a film as it is right now were it that Will Smith was the one playing Neo. That would have been terrible. No, actually, on a bit more of a critical note, I suppose, my problem with him being the genie and looking like Will Smith is that he still looks like Will Smith. It's got the same problem as A Shark's Tale did. For those of you who remember A Shark's Tale, and my condolences to you, that whole movie was just kind of uncanny because even though they were animated characters, they looked completely like their real-life counterparts, and I felt that was unnecessary. I didn't need a fish with the face of Will Smith, thank you very much. My life was at least 10% better before I saw that fish. And I sort of feel the same with Will Smith as the genie. Like, yeah, that's... Robin Williams was cool as the genie because it was his voice and his personality in there, but he didn't have the face of Robin Williams, and having the genie have the exact face of Will Smith CGI-ified, I think that's part of the problem there. Yeah, the only thing actually in my mind that has stuck from Shark's Tale is the whole car wash song. And I remember sort of that period in time where after every big Disney or Pixar film there would be a handful of knockoffs, and Shark Tale definitely felt like, you know, Finding Nemo with Will Smith. The sharks especially were super similar to the sharks in Finding Nemo. There's a fly flying around in my room and I'm here just like, it's February. What's going on here? Do you have any advice for Roller Coaster Tycoon 3? Play it without custom scenery. I don't know, is there anything particular you need advice on? Scenery or gameplay, anything? Yeah, you certainly got me ranting. As for the as for the gameplay, I actually barely know anything about Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, I have to admit. I rarely played any of the scenarios in the game, so all I really know is scenery, but even then I spent most of my time doing custom scenery stuff, so I'm not sure what I could give you in terms of tips for Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, I'm sorry. I don't think I should give a rating out of 10 on Parkitect, because I've worked on it myself. I would be terribly biased. But that said, I would recommend this game if you like the old school isometric simulation games and the old school theme park simulation games like Theme Park World and Roller Coaster Tycoon, because it's very much in the same vein, and it's really the polar opposite of Planet Coaster, for instance, in that sense. It's just about the gameplay, and I think art style also plays a role. The art style is a bit of a hit or miss for people, so if you like the art style and you like the sort of gameplay strategic element of games like this, then I would wholeheartedly recommend this game. And yeah, I'm sorry about the internet cutting out. That is probably on my side. I still have some pretty terrible internet here. You know what I could do? I could actually open up not Parkitect. Maybe I could open up Planet Coaster for a little bit. There's an idea that I've been having, and maybe I need some input from people to actually... Or no, maybe I should keep this secret until I make a video. Yeah, I'm actually gonna keep this secret until I make a video. Never mind that. No, okay, no. So there's this idea that I've had for a building. All right. So here goes my pitch. Right. So it's a building, but it's made out of just blanks. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole idea. I'm thinking of building a building out of wooden planks, and just to see if it actually works. I think it would be interesting. But it's definitely not something I would do on stream, because it'll look absolutely terrible. Can Parkitect run parks with 5,000 people? I don't know where the guest count is, but I do think it's somewhere beneath 5,000. Yeah, I'm currently living in Brussels. Okay, Planet Coaster doesn't want to start up in the meantime. But yeah, I'm not gonna quite reveal that secret yet, but you'll see it pop out eventually if I do end up making a video of it and it actually works somehow. In any case, I think I'm gonna call it a day here for the stream. It's been fun, guys, and I'm positively surprised with how decent the internet has been keeping up. But that said, it's still nowhere near a level where I would be comfortable doing streams on a more regular basis. And as for your question, I don't think Parkitect can run parks with 5,000 people. I know there's a certain guest count, but I think it's a bit lower than 5,000. I don't have a Discord server either, but I'm considering to get a Discord server. Oop. Looks like a mech. Might have had a little bit of buffering there. That was, again, just on my side. But yeah, I don't know if you guys missed this, but I'm thinking about getting a Discord server. So I might start to work on that soon. Because this semester is going to be a lot less busy than last semester. So I think I have some time to work a bit more on the channel and do some stuff around it as well. In any case, thanks for watching, everyone. I'm sorry about giving you all a notification about a stream that wasn't actually going on, but I hope that I made it up a little bit by actually streaming. It's been fun. I hope you guys all enjoy your evening or afternoon if you're in the US. And the next Parkitect video should be coming out sometime soon, so stay tuned for that. Bye, guys.